JavaScript arrays. We're going to cover a couple different things that we can do with JavaScript arrays here, but the first one that we're going to cover is how are we going to get each one of the things inside of this array here that we have saved in this variable called users friends. Well, that's a pretty easy way to do that. If we just wanted to get one of the friends out, we can get each thing by their position. I'm just going to get each one of these and kind of save it into a variable here. So if I just make a new variable and I'll just call it, let's call it my friend. The way we can get each one of these out is just by using their position, and that's also called index in JavaScript. So to do that, we can just write the name of our user friends array variable. To get the first thing here, we can just type a square bracket and the position of the friend that we want. So arrays kind of start at 0 for this friend, and then 1 for this friend, and then 2 for this friend, and it'll keep going, but it starts at 0. So we can just type in 0, and now we've gotten it and we're saving it in this my friend variable. So let's just take a look and see what that looks like. We'll just type in console.log and log out my friend, and on the console we see that, okay, we are actually logging out our friend DeAndre. Cool. So 0 was this friend here, and that means that 1 should be Megan. So if we switch this to 1, let's see, we actually get it, and yep, we see it on the console, Megan listed right there. I don't know what's going on. All right, there we go. Megan's listed there. So that means if we were to type in 2, 0, 1, 2, we should get Destiny listed here. So let's try that. And sure enough, we do get Destiny as well. So cool, that works as we expected. To get the position, we just type in square brackets and then the number of the position here. Nice. All right, so that's the first thing we're covering with arrays. Now, what if we wanted to see how long this array is or how many things we had in this array? Really easy way to do that. All we can do is let's make a new variable and just call it number of friends. It's really useful for if we're making an app and we want to get the number of friends that the user has. We can use this property that we're about to take a look at, which is called length. So we can just type dot length to get the length of this array that we're looking at. It should save that in a variable so we can take a look at that and see what's happening. We should get 3, and we do. So we have 3 friends in this array, and using this dot length property, we're able to get the number of friends that we have in this array. Cool. So those two are pretty straightforward. The next thing we're going to look at are methods. And just like strings, numbers, and objects, JavaScript gives us a few built-in methods to use with arrays too. And I want to emphasize, it's not important you memorize all of them here at all. This is just to see what you can do with arrays so you can always Google it later when you forget. So the first thing that we're going to try to do is to add a new friend to the user's friends here that we have. So an easy way to do that is using a built-in method that JavaScript has for arrays called push, to just push a new friend onto our user's friends array. So inside of these parentheses, we can just type in the name of our new friend. Let's say that our new friend name is Jim, and we will take a look at our user's friends array that we have, and we should see Jim there, and we actually do. Cool. So that's how we can add new things onto an array by just using the push method. So that's great. That's how we can add a new friend to our user's friend array. But what if we wanted to remove a friend? How would we do that? So let's just get rid of that. And let's go back to our 3 friends that we had here, DeAndre, Megan, and Destiny. And if we wanted to get rid of something, the way we can remove things from the end of an array, let's just try removing Destiny. If we wanted to do that, all we'd have to do is use another built-in method called pop. It works almost the same way as push, but instead of adding something to the end, it removes it at the end instead. So let's just try that. And when we save it to run it, we see that we do now only have 2 people in our array, just DeAndre and Megan, and we've popped off Destiny off the end. So let's just kind of go back to what we had. And for this next one, what if we just joined this new app that our friends are telling us about, but let's say we're hungry. So we go out to dinner to eat for a while. And when we come back later, we have a bunch of friend requests waiting for us. And there's a button that we can click to accept all the friend requests all at once. How would we add that new array of friend requests to our users' friends array? So let's say that we had, some friend requests that came in, and it's just an array. We have Jim and let's say Larry and Maisha in there. These are new friend requests that we're getting. How would we add our friend requests to our users' friends, the friend list that we already had? How would we do that? Well, there's a pretty easy way to do it. Let's just update our users' friends array. And what we'll do is we can make a new array and just take all the stuff from in here and put it in there, and all the stuff from friend requests and put it in there as well. And the way that we take just the contents of the array, or just what's on the inside of the array, is just by typing 3 dots like this. I'll just write the 3 dots, and then that should just get only what's inside of the array. We don't want the whole array, we just want what's inside of it, right? Well, these 3 dots is what's gonna allow us to do that. So we have our users' friends, and then I'll just write the comma, and then also we want the contents of our friend requests. Now, when we log out users' friends down here, we see that sure enough, we have all of the contents of the users' friends and all of the contents of the friend requests all in one variable. That's great. See, another thing that we can do with arrays is sorting. So we have all of our names here like this, but maybe we wanted to have all of our names in alphabetical order, right? So right now we have DeAndre, Megan, and then Destiny again, right? That's not an alphabetical order. Destiny should come after DeAndre. So the way we sort things, really simple. All we gotta do is type users friends dot sort. When we log it out, sure enough, we do see DeAndre, and right after we see Destiny, and Jim, Larry, Megan, and finally Maisha. So that's a really quick and easy way to just sort an array and put it in the right order that we want it to be in. Okay, so this last one that we're gonna look at is really useful. And a lot of the most common ones like it all have something similar about them that has something to do with functions that I wanna just mention really quickly. So we've been making functions like this. We might have a function called add friends, and it might look something like this. And inside of here, we'll write some code to add the friend, right? We're pretty familiar with that, but there's actually another way to write a function that we're gonna learn about now that looks just like this. Just put some parentheses and make a little arrow with the equal sign and the arrow, and then the squiggly brackets. So you notice it's the exact same thing here. All we did is add a little arrow between them. So this is another way to write a function. For the purposes of our learning, these two functions do exactly the same thing. Just wanted to expose us to that and get that out of the way so that we don't get confused in just a second when we look at this next built-in method of arrays in JavaScript. So just know when you see this, these are exactly the same thing. It's just another way to write a function. And because it has this cute little arrow in between the parentheses and brackets, people have nicknamed it an arrow function, but it basically works the exact same way. Okay, so let's say for this last one that we wanted to make a little message for each one of these friend requests. Something like just a little message saying, Jim wants to be your friend, and then Larry wants to be your friend, and then Maisha wants to be your friend. We want to make a message for each one of these things in the array. How do we do that? Well, there is a built-in method called for each that will let us create a message for each friend in this friend request array. So to do that, we'll just type friend request and then dot, and then for each, just like that. And for each, what it's going to do is just run a function for each friend in our friend request array. For us, our function is just going to make a friend request message. So we just have to give it a function that it can use. You remember our little arrow function that we had here? Well, I'm just gonna copy this and paste it right in here. So what for each is gonna do is it's just gonna run this little arrow function for Jim, and then it's gonna run the arrow function for Larry, and then it's gonna run the arrow function for Maisha. And it's going to give us the friend so that we can use it in the function as well. All we're gonna do is just write console.log, and just to make sure it's working, let's write out friend, just to make sure that we're actually first getting Jim, and then it's running it for Larry, and then it's running it for Maisha. And sure enough, yep, for each is running our arrow function for Jim, and then it's running it for Larry, and then it's running it for Maisha. Cool. So let's just try making our friend request message here. I'm just going to write a comma and then a space and quotation marks to make a string. And we'll just say whichever friend this is wants to be your friend. Cool. So when we save now, awesome. So we actually are seeing a custom message for each one of our friends. See one that says Jim wants to be your friend, Larry wants to be your friend, and then Maisha wants to be your friend. So in an app, this is probably what we'd see on the page, that each one of these people wants to be your friend, and maybe there's a button next to each one that says confirm or allow or add or reject. So that's kind of how arrays work. And I know this was a lot of information, but once again, don't worry about memorizing any of it. Just kind of be exposed to it so you can at least just see like, oh, okay, these are some different things that I can do with arrays if I ever come across it. So hopefully that's helpful. And if you want to support by allowing me the time to think of ways to help others feel less intimidated by tech, check out the Patreon link below. And as always, may the odds be ever in your favor and the snacks be ever in your bag.